Prague's Jewish town, a peculiar phenomenon in the heart of Prague, a city of 100 spires.
Evening passed and morning came, the first day, the first book of Moses.
According to the Jewish tradition, one day is measured from one sunset to the next. The Jews have witnessed periods of the city's upsurge and decline, but since they themselves were never full-fledged citizens, they never felt free, not even during its heydays. In the times of adversity, their suffering was all the greater. The Jewish faith is as old as its experience with the terrifying depths of the human soul.
Torah, the 5 books of Moses, the holiest of the treasures of Judaism. Moses wrote the books at the bidding of God. Torah is written in a Hebrew script, just like the Sinai 10 Commandments, the world's most succinct and profound legal code. Take care of the innocent, follow the just, since the ultimate goal of man is peace.
Prague played host to Jewish settlers already at the dawn of its history. Chronicler Cosmas mentioned merchant settlements beneath the castle. And he also recorded some sorrowful episodes involving the forcible baptism of Jews and the subsequent pogrom in the year 1096 during the Crusades.
There are 7 roads leading to the divine service, and one of them applies to each pious Jew. The human soul is the light of the Lord.
Prague Ghetto, a kaleidoscope of fates of individuals, families, whole generations throughout the passage of centuries. The Jews were granted their first legal status in Bohemia between 1174 and 78 under Soběslav II. They enjoyed privileges just like any foreigners. Přemysl Otakar II granted the Jews privileges which secured them some kind of civic rights. These included the right to internal autonomy and the right to be protected by the king. For that, however, Jewish regality had to be paid. On paper, the right existed, but both Otakar and his successors made it abundantly clear to the Jews that they were not personally free. Innocence III was infamous for his attacks on the Jews at the Lateran Council in 1215. He instituted the mark of shame which for centuries set Jews apart from Christians. He instituted usury as the sole source of livelihood for the Jews. Prague Ghetto, a bizarre grouping of little houses and mysterious zigzagging lanes, a quarter enveloped in a mystical romantic atmosphere reeking of poverty and wretchedness. The last days of the Prague Ghetto came in 1893, when the law on slum clearance was signed. This verdict spelled the end of the legendary Prague Walter Josefov, named in honor of Emperor Joseph II, who deserved most of the credit for securing the equality of Jews. In the original Jewish town, 6 out of the 9 synagogues were preserved. So was the Jewish town hall and part of the old cemetery. Pope Innocent IV outlawed the desecration of Jewish cemeteries in 1246 under pain of excommunication. From them, the peace and tranquility of the Jewish cemetery was protected. The Old New Synagogue, the oldest in Europe, it was built in 1270. For more than 700 years, its Gothic vaults have been reverberating with the prayers of the believers. The synagogue was a shelter for Prague Jews during the pogroms under the reign of Václav IV. This standard of Jewish solidarity was granted to the Prague Jewish community by Charles IV in 1358. Its present-day appearance dates back to 1716 during the rule of Charles VI. The Jewish town hall, this was built at the end of the 16th century by architect Roder. Its present-day Rococo appearance is the result of a reconstruction in 1763. The Klaus Synagogue, this originated at the end of the 17th century from the merger of three smaller synagogues known as Klauses. One of these used to house the famous Talmudic school founded by Rabbi Löw. Today, this is the sole monument of early Baroque synagogue architecture. The Pinkas Synagogue. Early in the 16th century, Zalman Hotovsky built this private synagogue on the spot which in the 14th century belonged to a man named Pinkas. This high single-aisle interior boasted an early Gothic reticulated vault. This is Europe's oldest women's ritual bath, mikveh. This Renaissance synagogue, known as the Tall Synagogue, was built by Mordechai Meisel, the court Jew and financier of Emperor Rudolf II. Its high vaulting and rich stucco decoration are unparalleled in comparable domestic architecture. It was built by architect Roder. Also, the origin of another Renaissance synagogue is connected with the personality of Mordechai Meisel. It bears his name since it was built in 1592 as Meisel's private synagogue. It was gutted by fire and rebuilt in the 19th century in the neo-Gothic style, though reduced in size. During the reign of Rudolf II, two new synagogues, a Jewish town hall and a bathhouse were built in the Prague ghetto. Its streets were paved. 2 centuries later, under the rule of Maria Theresa, the Prague Jewry experienced its harshest suffering. In 1744, the Empress signed a decree expelling the Jews from Bohemia.
Isaac, the son of Moses, writes in a gem of Hebrew literature, or Zeruah, or divine light, it is not customary to slay the Jews.
The bizarre fate of the Prague ghetto underwent yet another transformation which is unprecedented in human history. German Nazism decided to exterminate the Jews not only in the Prague ghetto, but the world over. Before their deportations to Nazi death camps, the Jews from 153 Jewish communities in Bohemia and Moravia had to leave behind their property, which is now housed in the Prague Jewish Museum, established in 1906. Having concentrated the exhibits, the Germans later planned to use them to ridicule the exterminated race. Hanging over the present-day State Jewish Museum is the spectre of mass extermination. The museum's valuable collections are not only a potent symbol, but also a memorial to the massacred Jews. In this way, German Nazism stands accused by the Jewish law book, which includes the commandment, "Thou shalt not kill." Nobody has ever managed to destroy the Jewish spirit, although attempts to do this date back to the dawn of human history.
The two